They didn't top charts or sell out arenas, but they brought the fire. From the shadows of the 80s, here are 10 metal bands that ruled. Acid formed in Bruges in 1980 and became one of the earliest speed metal bands out of Europe. Their self-titled debut album was released in 1983 on the Belgian label Roadrunner Records. Fronted by Kate de Lombard, one of the few female vocalists in the genre at the time, their sound was fast, aggressive, and unpolished in a way that felt authentic. Standout tracks like Hooked on Metal, and Ghost Riders showcase tight riffing, pounding drums, and a gritty vocal delivery that stood out in a male-dominated scene. Acid stayed close to the underground, never chasing commercial success, which may be why they remain a cult name today. For fans of early speed metal with a raw European edge, Acid's debut still holds up as an important document of the era. While Acid was stirring up speed metal in Belgium across the Atlantic, the Rods were holding it down with blue-collar American grit. Formed in upstate New York, this power trio didn't overthink it. They just plugged in and played loud. Their self-titled debut album in 1981 came out swinging with tracks like Crank It Up, and Power Lover. Both unapologetically heavy and straight to the point. Guitarist and vocalist David Rock Feinstein, cousin of Ronnie James Dio, brought a no-frills attitude that set them apart from more theatrical acts of the time. The Rods weren't trying to be pretty. They were about heart, volume, and sweat. They opened for big names like Iron Maiden and Ozzy, but never quite hit the same level of fame. Still, they earned their respect the hard way, on stage, night after night. Let's continue with Witchfind, not to be confused with Witchfinder General. Both emerged from the early 80s British metal surge, but their sounds were different. While Witchfinder General leaned into doom, Witchfind embraced theatrical, occult-infused heavy metal. Their 1980 debut, Give 'Em Hell, featured tracks like Ready to Roll, and the eerie title song. Blending melodic guitars with dark atmosphere. Witchfind was one of the first bands to weave mystical imagery into metal, an approach that predated and influenced the visual style of black metal. Though they never achieved the cult status of their doomier counterparts, they gained a loyal underground following during the new wave of British heavy metal. With haunting tones and a distinctive aesthetic, Witchfind left a unique mark on early British metal that still resonates with fans of the genre. Now let's head north to Sweden, where Heavy Load laid the foundation for what would later become Viking metal. Formed in Stockholm, they're often credited as Sweden's first true heavy metal band. Their 1982 album, Death or Glory, delivered standouts like Heavy Metal Heaven, and The Guitar Is My Sword. Combining classic metal with mythological themes and Nordic pride. Led by brothers, and don't mind my pronunciation, Ragna and Styrbjörn Wahlquist, the band crafted epic stories through music, never cheesy, always powerful. Their sound was bold but sincere, and it struck a chord with European metal fans. While they never broke through internationally, they built a strong underground following. Today, collectors and early metal diehards see Heavy Load as essential, a pioneering force that gave Swedish heavy metal its first real identity. We stay in Sweden but head further north for one of the country's most obscure cult acts, Gotham City. While Heavy Load leaned into Viking themes, Gotham City had a colder, more melodic approach, almost proto-power metal. Their 1983 EP Black Ritz and the album The Unknown featured standout tracks like Swords and Chains
We are riding on in the storm. You can see all the swords and chains.
and Battle Blade. With sharp riffs and soaring, eerie vocals by Björn Munte. Unlike many bands at the time, they kept a low profile, avoiding media and letting the music do the talking. They didn't tour much, and their records had limited pressings, which only added to their underground appeal. With limited releases and little promotion, their records became collector gold. Gotham City may not be widely known, but they're a buried treasure in Sweden's early metal history. Now we head back to Belgium for Ostrogoth, a band that brought melody, power, and just enough theatrics to make things exciting. Formed in the early 80s, they made a real impression with their 1984 album, Ecstasy and Danger. Tracks like Queen of Desire and Scream Out showed off their mix of classic metal riffing, twin guitars, and soaring vocals from Mark Red Star de Brouwer. They weren't speed metal like Acid. Instead, their sound leaned towards Judas Priest with a European twist. Their stage shows included leather, studs, and a little flair, but the music always came first. Ostrogoth had a solid following in continental Europe and even supported bands like Manowar and Def Leppard. Internal tensions and lineup changes stalled their momentum, but their early records remain prized by fans of melodic Euro metal. Let's move on to France, where H-Bomb came out swinging with a style that was fast, gritty, and unapologetically heavy. Formed in 1982 by ex-Trust drummer Gerard Michel and vocalist Didier Delceau, they quickly made waves with their debut album Attack in 1984. Songs like Double Bang and Coup de Metal were all-out assaults, tight riffing, machine gun drumming, and vocals delivered in French, which gave them a raw, distinctive character. H-Bomb didn't care about appealing to the English-speaking market. They stuck to their roots, and that earned them serious respect in the European underground. Their sound was somewhere between early Accept and Motorhead, with a punk-alike energy driving the aggression. Unfortunately, the band split shortly after Attack due to creative differences, but their one-album legacy remains a high point in French heavy metal history. All right, now, there were two bands called Chariot in the 80s. We're talking about the UK version here. Formed in London in 1981. They came in near the end of the new wave of British heavy metal, but what they lacked in timing, they made up for with grit. Their 1984 debut, The Warrior, delivered fast, riff-heavy tracks like Run with the Pack and Love or Leave Me. It wasn't polished, but it hit hard. Chariot was the only band signed to Shades Records, linked to the iconic Soho record shop, where metalheads hunted for imports and demos. They played the Reading Festival in 1987, but never cracked the big time. One of the rare all-female forces in the new wave of British heavy metal is the band Rock Goddess. Formed in London by teenage sisters Jodie and Julie Turner, they hit hard right out of the gate. Their 1983 debut album delivered punchy, riff-driven tracks like My Angel and Heavy Metal Rock and Roll. Both showcasing raw energy and strong songwriting. They toured with Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, and Y&T, earning their place on stage. Not that they thought they're gimmicks, but sheer power. Still, media often reduced them to a girl band angle, missing the point entirely. Internal tensions and record label struggles slowed them down by the mid-80s. But their music holds up, unpolished, loud, and honest. Rock Goddess never played the victim, they just plugged in and went for it. Last but not least, we head to Florida for Axe, a band that sat somewhere between hard rock and heavy metal, often overlooked, but never lacking substance. Originally called Babyface, they changed names and sharpened their sound by the time they released their 1982 breakthrough album Offering. Tracks like Rock and Roll Party in the Streets and Now or Never balanced big hooks with tough guitars. Striking a perfect middle ground between radio-friendly and arena-ready. Axe toured with Motley Crue, Judas Priest, and Ozzy, yet never reached the heights they deserved. A tragic 1984 car accident claimed the life of guitarist Michael Osborne and seriously injured bassist Mike Turpin, halting the band's momentum. Axe carried on with different lineups, but their early records remain a bittersweet reminder of a band that could have gone much further. These 10 bands may not have topped the charts, but their legacies live on in riffs, stories, and memories that still echo through true metal hearts.